Hello Sonic lovers, welcome to the channel Gone. Today I'll show you how to configure asymmetric IRB EVPN in Sonic. Actually this is VxLAN BGP L2VPN EVPN. So the word asymmetric means in this topology inter-subnet routing will be possible. As here we can see host A is in different subnet and host B is in different subnet. So inter-subnet routing will be possible in this topology. So here it means asymmetric IRB EVPN. As here we can see in this topology I am using two switches named as SONiC 1 and SONiC 2, and I will assign two VLANs, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 on SONiC 1, and same here VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 on SONiC 2. Here we can see the VNIs will be 1000 and 2000. So now, as we know, all the ports of SONiC are in layer 3 and all ports have assigned default IP addresses. So before starting of the video, all the default IP addresses have been removed. Now I'll go into switch SONiC 1 to configure it. Here now I'll check the status of interfaces by using command show IP interfaces. As here we can see port 0 and 4 are not present because default IP addresses have been removed before starting of the video. Now what I'll do, now I'll assign IP addresses as per topology. Here I'll assign IP address 11.1 on port 0 and I'll not assign any IP address on this port, which is port number 4. So now I'll assign IP address by using command sudo config interface IP add ethernet 0 192.168.11.1/24. Now here I'll create a loopback 10 on this switch whose IP address will be 1.1.1.1/32. As we can see, VTAP address and loopback address must be same. So here we can see VTAP address is 1.1.1, so loopback 10 address will be 1.1.1/32. So now I'll assign IP address sudo config interface IP add loopback 10 1.1.1.1/32. Oops, the spellings are wrong here. Now I'll check the status of IP interfaces by using command show IP interfaces. As here we can see 11.1 and 1.1.1, all the IP addresses have been assigned. So now I'll go into topology. Here I'll create VLANs on this switch. As we can see, there are two VLANs, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. So now sudo config VLAN add 10 and then 20, and now I'll go into topology. Here we can see port 4 must be untagged port and no IP address should be assigned on this port. So now I'll check the status of VLAN table by using command show VLAN brief. Here we can see two VLANs are present, 10 and 20. So now sudo config VLAN member add untag 10 Ethernet 4. So now here we can see the IP address that we will assign to this VLAN interface. VLAN 10 is 192.168.10.254. Sudo config interface IP add VLAN 10 192.168.10.254/24. Oops, again spellings are wrong, sorry for this. Now again I'll check the status of VLAN table. Here we can see an IP address has been assigned to VLAN interface, which is VLAN 10. Port 4 is untagged. So now I'll save all the steps by using command sudo config save flag y. As we can see here, all the steps or things are saved in /etc/sonic/config.db.json file. So all the configurations are saved in this file /etc/sonic/config.db.json, which is actually a JSON file. So now I'll go into topology here. Now what I'll do, I'll repeat the same steps on switch SONiC 2. Here I'll check the status of IP interfaces by using command show IP interfaces. Yes, good. So now I'll assign IP address to port 0 Ethernet 4 192.168 Ethernet 0 192.168.11.2/24. So now I'll create a loopback 10 sudo config interface IP add loopback 10. The IP address should be, as we can see here, the VTEP address is 2.2.2, so loopback will be 192.168.2.2.2/32. So again I'll check the status of IP interfaces. So yes, good. So everything is fine. So now create two VLANs, sudo config VLAN add 10 and then 20. So now here we can see port 4 will be untagged port and it will be a member of VLAN 20. So now use command sudo config VLAN member add untagged 20 Ethernet 4. So now assign IP address to this VLAN interface VLAN 20, which is 12.254. So sudo config interface IP add VLAN 20 192.168.12.254/24. So now check the status of VLAN table by using command show VLAN brief. So VLANs are present 10 and 20. IP address has been assigned to VLAN interface 20 VLAN 20 and Ethernet 4 is an untagged port. So now save the steps by using command sudo config save flag y. So yes, so now go into switch SONiC 1. Now check the topology. So now what we'll do, we'll create VTEPs VxLAN tunnel, and then VLAN to VNI mapping. So now use command sudo config VxLAN add btap 1.1.1. so now sudo config VxLAN EVPN NVO add NVO vtap sudo config VxLAN map add 10. The VNI is 1000 in our case, 1000. Sudo config VxLAN map add vtap. VTAP 10,000. Sudo config VxLAN map add EVPN NVO add NVO VTAP, and then sudo config VxLAN map add spellings are wrong, VTAP 10,000, and then sudo config VxLAN map add 22,000. As we can see here, VLAN 10 is mapped with VNI 1000 and VLAN 20 is mapped with VNI 2000. So in our case, I'll check the status of VxLAN tunnel. Show VxLAN tunnel. So yes, our tunnel name is VTAP. Source IP is, which is actually a loopback IP 1.1.1.1. This source IP will be used for all kind of MAC learning, remote MAC learning. And then as we can see here, VLAN 10 is mapped with VLAN 1000 and VLAN 20 is mapped with VLAN 2000. So now save the configurations by using command sudo config save flag by. So now go into switch SONiC 2 and repeat the same steps there. Sudo config VxLAN add btap 2.2.2, and then sudo config VxLAN EVPN NVO add NVO vtap, and then sudo config VxLAN map add vtap 10 with 1000 and then 20 with 2000. So now check the status of VxLAN tunnel by using command show VxLAN tunnel. So yes, everything is fine. So now save the configurations by using command sudo config save flag by. So now go into topology here. Now what I'll do, I'll configure BGP for creating neighborship, and then L2VPN EVPN. Here we can see all the routers are in same ASN, which is 65,000. This router will also be in ASN 65,000, and this router will also be in ASN 65,000. So now I'll go into switch SONiC 1. Here actually up till now we have created an overlay. Sorry. Now we'll create the underlay, which is actually a BGP fabric. So now we type configuration mode router BGP 65,000. Sorry. As we can see here in SONiC, it is running by default with AS 65,100. Now I'll remove this instance by using command no router BGP 65,100. Again use the same command router BGP 65,000. neighbor 192.168.11.2 remote AS 65000, and then address family IPv4 unicast, a network. Now I'll advertise this network 1.1.1.1/32 because this network, this loopback ID, will be used for remote MAC learning of the destination host. So now network 1.1.1/32, then exit out, address family L2VPN EVPN, and then neighbor 192.168.11.2 activate, advertise all VNI. So now end it and save the configuration by using command write. As here we can see, for L3 configurations, BGP configurations, all the commands or configs are saved in /etc/frr/bgpd.conf file, which is present in FRR. So now go into switch SONiC 2 and repeat the same steps here. Now go into Vitash configuration mode, and then no router BGP 65100, router BGP 65000, and then neighbor 192.168.11.1 remote AS 65000, and then address family IPv4 unicast, network 2.2.2/32 because it is attached directly with switch SONiC 2. Now exit, address family L2VPN EVPN, neighbor 192.168.11.1 activate, and then advertise all VNI, and then end and use write command. So now I'll go into switch SONiC S1. So now exit out. So now I'll check the status of VxLAN by using command show VxLAN, remote VTAP. So yes, as here we can see, for this switch SONiC S1, the source IP is 1.1.1, which is a VTAP of this switch, and this is a remote IP or a destination IP 2.2.2, which is also a VTAP IP, and the creation source, the protocol or the a type of VPN uses EVPN. So now as we can see here, the status is shown as down. Actually this is a we can say a bug in SONiC. It is actually a bug in SONiC. On the front end it is showing down, the status of this remote VTAP or this table is down, but it is actually up. I'll verify it by sending request through the host. So now here exit, show VxLAN remote VTAP. Yes, as here we can see the source IP is 2.2.2, which is a loopback IP, also a VTAP IP. So now go into host A1, I am starting it, this host, and then host B. So now assign IP to this host IP 192.168.10.2/24, the gateway 192.168.10.254. Now check the status of IP by using command show IP. So now go into host B. Here assign IP 192.168.12.2/24 and gateway 192.168.12.254. So now check the status, show IP. Now generate a ping request, ping 192.168 192.168.10.2. Ping 192.168.15.12.2. As we can see here, it is showing an error. Now I'll generate a ping request from host A. As here we can see it is also showing an error. So go into topology. Here one thing I am leaving, or there is one thing which is important in this topology, which is leaving. We are not taking care of that. The thing is, actually we have assigned IP address to VLAN 10 on this host, and no IP address is assigned to VLAN 20 on this host, on this switch. In the same way, on switch SONiC 2, an IP is assigned to VLAN 20 interface, but no IP assigned to VLAN 10 on this interface. So now what I'll do, I'll assign IP address. Actually I have to write here for switch 1. Here let me write for SONiC 1. Here the IP address to VLAN 20 interface is 192.168.12.253/24. And now here the IP address for VLAN 10 is 192.168.10.253/24. So this is for switch SONiC 2. For SONiC 2. So now here we can see. So now go into switch SONiC S1, assign IP address to VLAN interface, which is VLAN 20 192.168.12.253. Exit sudo config interface IP add VLAN 20 192.168.12.253/24. Now check the status. As we can see here, an IP address has been assigned to VLAN 20. So now save the configurations by using command sudo config save flag y. So now go into switch SONiC 2. Here exit. So now sudo config interface IP add VLAN 10 192.168 1.10.253/24. So now save the configuration by using command sudo config save flag y. So now check the status of VLAN table by using command show VLAN brief. As we can see here, an IP address has been assigned to VLAN 10 interface. So now go into host B. So now generate a ping request. Yes, as we can see here, now it is receiving a response from host A, and the TTL has been decremented by 1 because one hop is present in its path. So now here I'll generate a ping request for 12.2. Yes. Go into topology. Here actually we haven't assigned an IP address to VLAN 20 on SONiC 1 and VLAN 10 on SONiC 2. Since this is inter subnet routing and inter VLAN routing, so we have to assign IP address to every VLAN interface. So now going to SONiC S1, here use command show VxLAN remote MAC all. Here we can see VLAN 20 has learned a remote MAC. Actually, going to topology, here we can see VLAN 10 is actually using host A is a part of VLAN 10, but why here it is showing VLAN 20? Actually, when host A generate a request to VLAN 10, so now switch SONiC 1, check the routing table or look up to VLAN 20 or send the traffic to this VLAN. So now packet is transferred from this VLAN 20 because on the other side we have VLAN 20. So actually host B is in VLAN 20. So now here VLAN 20 is used to learn a remote MAC of the destination host. As we can see here, let me check the MAC address of host B. We can see the MAC address of host B is 6801. 6801. Yes, this is the MAC address of the destination host. As we can see here, in asymmetric IRB EVPN, the MAC address of the destination host, which is host B, is learned through a VTAP or a loopback interface. So now here the remote VTAP is 2.2.2. So now go into switch SONiC 2 and use command show VxLAN remote MAC all. Here we can see VLAN 10 is used to learn the remote MAC. Why? Because host A is in VLAN 10. So VLAN 10 is used to learn a remote MAC of this destination host. Now check the MAC address of this host. The MAC address of this host is 6800. Here 6800. So VLAN 10 is used to learn the remote MAC 6800 through VTAP or loopback interface, and the remote VTAP for SONiC 2 is 1.1.1. So now go into switch SONiC 1 Vitish, use command show EVPN VNI. Yes, everything is fine. And then show EVPN VNI detail. We can see here VNI 1000 and the type is L2. This is not an L3 VPN, this is an L2 VPN and L2 VNI. So here we can see the local VTAP is 1.1.1, remote VTAP which is learned through head and replication HER is 2.2.2. As we can see here, the number of MACs local and remote known for this VNI is 1. Actually the remote MAC 6801 is learned through VTAP or loopback interface. And then VNI 2000 type is L2, and then SVI is VLAN 20, local VTAP 1.1, and here yes. So now check the status of BGP by using command show BGP summary. As here we can see this is the neighbor. So now show IP BGP, show BGP neighbors. Yes, yes, state is established up, so everything is fine. So now show BGP L2VPN EVPN. Here we can see RDs and then type 2 right and type 2 routes. So now going to switch SONiC 2 Vitish, show EVPN VNI detail. Yes, type is L2 and the local VTAP is 2.2.2, remote VTAP is 1.1.1, flooding is through head and replication. So now go into topology. So as we can see, asymmetric IRB EVPN has been successfully verified or configured in this topology, for this topology. So thank you guys for watching my video. If you want more videos like this, do subscribe my channel.